Hello everyone, welcome to another episode from FPL the Onion. On tonight's episode it's myself, Shlee, and no Nick this week, he's on holiday as you might have heard from the video a couple of days ago, so I've got a special guest on. It's my colleague and good friend Tom. Tom, how's it going?
All good, thanks. Thanks for having me on. Hope I can step into Nick's warm shoes.
Yep, yeah, he's only been gone 2 days and got you straight in, so that's good. But yeah, his last little solo video did quite well, so we were just discussing his team beforehand, so we'll take up the reins and talk about our own drafts tonight.
Sounds good.
So yeah, the plan for tonight is, as we said, to look through the sort of drafts we've put together. The usual thing you've brought two along with you, Tom, that we're going to chat about. I've got one sort of base one that I've based quite a lot of mine on, and realise it's sort of keep coming back to this same place and then sort of going off in different directions from it. So talk about that one. Then we'll go through the usual sort of pre-season roundup that we started last week, but just cover the sort of big teams and the last fixtures that they've gone through, and if that's changed our thoughts on anything. A few Twitter bits and a few sort of burning questions we've got, and then wrap up. So the first sad thing we have started doing, Tom, guess the length of the episode. Do you want to have a punt of how long it's going to be tonight?
Yeah, I reckon it's been pretty well. That's pretty long. Last one to go, isn't it? So let's go with I'll go 1 hour 23.
Oof, right, that is a bit tough to go higher or lower. I'll go with what I had last week, 1 hour 27. Let's see, but it sounds like we're both pretty close. And yeah, we got a new league code for the season. So if anyone's listening and wants to sign up to the FPL the Onion League, Nick's buying the confectionery for the winner this season, and that league code is TRLU7M. So Tom, just to talk a bit about your FPL history, your like style of play. I've got it written down here. How passionate / moody do you get? Do you want to quickly talk about what your FPL experiences have been?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I've probably been playing relatively seriously for the last 3 years. I've been playing for 4 years, but 3 years that I can actually probably say that I fully committed. Yeah, I would say I'm pretty into it, but probably not as much as you. So I'm
Right.
probably not into the stats as much. I mean, I'm big football fan, Villa fan, Championship Manager, Football Manager, FIFA, you know me, I love it. So a lot of probably where I get my passion from is just watching football. So I think this, and I was a bit skeptical probably 3 years about getting back into it. I did the whole Sun Dream Team and like a postal league when I was younger and stuff as well, but probably kind of got back into it a few years ago, as I said. So I think a lot of it is watching a bit of watch match of the day. I like to tune in to this because I think you summarise a lot of the other content, which I, to be honest, don't listen to. But I a bit of cursory glance at Reddit. I wouldn't say it's always on a Friday before deadline, but yeah, I put in a little bit of effort. So it's good. Yeah, that's why I like watching this, because you do all the stats stuff for me. So that's good.
Right, I was gonna
What's
ask you that. I can't remember if you've said other stuff you listen to, and you don't have to say that just for being nice. But so you don't listen to much else, but you do go on Reddit occasionally.
Yeah. I give it a glance for a bit of team news, few bits and pieces. But I have to say, last couple of seasons I've kind of turned off Reddit a little bit, because there's a lot of it's a bit of an echo chamber, isn't it? There's a lot of people saying the same stuff, and a few times I've been dragged down on that. So sometimes I just like to just do my own thing, but that goes well sometimes and not so well other times. I think my last 3 kind of seasons I was at 50, 53, 133 and 127k. So yeah, I guess not incredible, but
That's decent. Sorry, I'm laughing because you missed out the one before that. Have you got that written
oh
down
yeah,
as well?
that was like 584.
Yeah,
You're
that's
talking about that
K.
one.
Yeah, 584K. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, not overall, right? Yeah. But yeah, so pretty into it. I mean, I think other people's passion rubs off on me, including yourself. So I get a bit more interested. I mean, my ultimate game is to beat you actually, but last season you picked me on the last day, I think, by
it was
a
pretty
few,
close, wasn't it?
a few points. I
BF3
think. What was your rank in the end?
105k or something. So yeah, only 20k difference. So yeah, it went down pretty close, and you were ahead of me, I think, for a lot of the second half. I seem to remember. I think.
Yeah. I think I had a few shockers, and then which maybe we'll come on to later. But and then I had a good middle end of the season until the very end, and then I was in the top 100k and then dipped out by 30 or 40k in the end. So disappointing, but
yeah, 52k 3 seasons ago is decent, and yeah, that definitely beat me on that one. So I mean, good time to bring on to what your rankings for the season. I was going to note down everyone who sort of coming on. So I've got other Toms, so I'm going to refer to you as Tom H if I can remember. Certainly on the text, what are your I was noting down what rank would make you ecstatic and what would make you consider it was good. What do you reckon this season?
Yeah, I think top 10k, I think I'd be absolutely delighted, ecstatic about that. I mean, I'd just getting my highest finish probably, so beating 50, 52, 800 or whatever it was, that would be great. I think I'd be happy with top 100. I think that's at the start of the season. I pretty much always say I'd like to finish top 100. I haven't managed it last 2 seasons, missed out narrowly. So I think that's always my starting point. But it depends how well it's going. If you're, I mean, I spent most last season probably 2, 3, 400. Then I pulled it back towards the end. So that was good. But obviously, if I get into the season, I'm inside the top 100, then I'll be hoping for a bit better. But
yeah, no, exactly. Hopefully we're not drastically revising these after like 4 or 5 game weeks, but yeah, that's pretty similar to mine. Top 10k I said for ecstatic as well, and 75k I was thinking is good, but yeah, can't argue with 100k. It's a pretty good benchmark. Cool. Okay. We normally try and avoid the classic topic with Nick about technical issues, and it's not been too bad. A little bit of video dropout, but all good. One thing we do need to avoid is we can't talk about work tonight, so no hydrography or geophysics allowed. Hopefully, if you stumble onto that, we're definitely doing wrong.
Check out my LinkedIn page later if anyone's interested.
What was it? We were going to put your Twitter handle on, but then you realised you were locked out of it.
They're not a big user of Twitter, and the old classic. I think they would close my account probably. So never mind. Yeah, you can't find me on Twitter, people.
Okay, good.
Post your abuse in the bottom of the YouTube video.
Don't tempt them. Okay, should we move on to your drafts? That's next up.
Let's do it.
So talk us through it, and you can see that,
Yeah, that's all good. So it's interesting what you're saying about what you keep coming back to, and I think what's on the left is probably what is template or was template probably a week or two ago for it's in a lot of similar looking teams. I guess I see that's quite a safe team. I think my first draft looked quite like that, apart from maybe Edison and Zinchenko I've brought in a bit recently, but I mean Trent, Salah, Jesus, and Cancelo, I mean they're pretty much nailed in there for me. There's a few spots that maybe still up for grabs. I think probably at the beginning of the season I just will play a bit safer just to keep not be 3-0 after 5 game weeks like I've been before, but I think what's on the left is probably about right. I mean, I'm still not sold on James and Diaz, the whole Diaz Robinson question. That's still something I keep coming back to, which I think you talked about quite a lot on the last episode. And I think obviously lack of Spurs coverage is the main thing that worries me from that team. I think everything else is pretty bulletproof. He says, touching wood, but I think there's not much else that can really go wrong. Bench enablers, happy with that. Archer obviously not going to get many minutes, but
Villa coverage is important.
Well, I mean, I think he's a great finisher. He's not going to get any minutes, but I think he'll get a few sub appearances with 5 subs coming on. So and then Ward might come in for Steele, probably will, depending on Leicester goalkeeper news. So I made this before that was kind of dropping, but I think what's on the left is probably pretty much what I'll go with. Main worry is probably Son or Kane. I could get to Kulusevski on the left team, but then I'm like, is that even just is that even worth it? I know it's a bit of Spurs coverage, but it's not the right Spurs coverage, maybe. So that is in my mind a little, but I probably would rather not get Kulusevski in. But
I think
there
are a couple of risks on the left. I mean, double City defense is not risky, but that's not the only way to go for sure, and that's quite a lot of money in there. And then you're kind of locking yourself out of, I don't know, Mahrez or Foden go off, but it's pretty nice to think, that West Ham game might be tricky, but it probably is going to be, I don't know, probably less. It's probably more likely they'll keep a clean sheet than bang 5. So you probably would rather have double defense than like double midfielder attack. I think Zinchenko's quite not risky, but if you're going to go and triple Arsenal, I suppose, is kind of risky. You're putting a lot of eggs in the basket, and if it's 0-0 or Palace nick something, then that could be pretty silly. But then Martinelli's not loads of cash. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Zinchenko Gabriel chat. You were backing Gabriel last episode. I don't know. Yeah, I quite fancy Zinchenko. As soon as he made that move, I put him straight in. Don't know. I guess we'll see. But double City. I mean, again, I looked at. I think, and that's one thing. I looked at Grealish quite a lot, but I'm just worried about the 5 subs. And maybe he's all right for the first couple of weeks with Foden not getting any minutes, but I just think is he going to be on the pitch for long enough to make that impact? And I mean, obviously, I got Haaland in there. I thought Grealish and Haaland is actually too much risk on the City, but Mahrez, I've never really got on with Mahrez because he's so patchy, but okay, maybe there's less competition, so maybe he will be better this season. And like Foden hasn't even many minutes, so I just don't know who I'd put it on if I was going to get an 8 mil City or 7 or 8 mil City midfielder. So for me, I mean, again, I looked at putting Walker in there, and having Walker and Cancelo, and then having like Mendy or Sarr or Sanchez or someone, and that is something I looked at. I did have a draft of double Liverpool, double City defenders, which I quite look of as well. But Robert again, not even Robbo, and then but I think that one is probably 7 or 8 of the players there will be in the team, probably maybe 8 or 9. And then the team on the right, Son is really he's my guy. Every season I seem to he just does it for me when I need it. And I think that's part of the reason I shot up the ranks kind of second half of last season. I had Son, I think, and maybe Mount as well, and they both started firing, and that put me up the leagues quite a lot. So I think I had a few captains on Son when it was perfect. So not having Son or Kane, that is the worry. And but then what kind of puts me off the team on the right is not really having good 4.5 defenders, which perhaps we'll talk about a bit later. But I mean, Wolves won. I mean, White not even nailed. Who else I put in their second 4.5 defender? So I'm quite happy with the 4-4-2 structure. I did a few drafts with even Kane up front, so 4-3-3 or 3-4-3. But I think it will be a 4-4-2. What I'll go with in the end.
Classic 3 meme on the right, and there's a few 4.5s in there starting, like Sanchez. I'm not a big fan of the 4.5 keepers anymore, and the 4.5 defenders. I think a Wolves one is probably the one I go for, but then actually finding 2, surely Aït-Nouri and Johnny is a bit too much, but I just don't really know really what else I go with. I don't really massively like White. It's just a bit of a dull pick, but you got to have that to get the 3 meme in. But then in a way it is flexible because, as I'm sure Nick would say if he was here, if Son doesn't bang, you can go down to anyone for that Chelsea game, which is when people are probably going to ship. Certainly if you've got like 2 starting Spurs assets, you're probably going to ditch one for that. But not in the bank. There's no real room for anything. What about like starting with Kane on either the left or the right and then doing the Haaland switch? How close are you to doing that?
Yeah, yeah. It's just banking that transfer. But I was kind of I'm hoping to roll the first week and then have the two, and then if I need to make 2 or 3 changes, I've got 2 transfers. So that's obviously probably everyone's aim. But that I don't really want to lock it in. I'd rather just put Haaland in, I think, and keep him in there. But that might not be great. So I don't know. I think nothing in the bank. I just feel like I want to spend it. And when I put the team together on the left, it was like, oh, not in the bank, banging. That just looked good on paper, and I was like, I'm happy with that. And I got that, a bit when you're free hitting a wild card and whatever, and you just have it just like turns up with a 0. You're like, nailed it.
Yeah.
This must be the perfect team.
Yeah, especially mid-season is quite cool because everything's 0.5 and 0. So it's the ultimate sign.
Yeah, exactly. But I think when I look at the different team, the left versus the right, you look at the going down the play: Ederson, Sanchez, Zinchenko, Norris, James White, Diaz, Bailey, and then Martinelli, Son. I mean, I think the left, not say it's a no-brainer, but I think the left, it's just obviously just Son. I'm just doing that to get Son in, but you're kind of losing 4 players. I mean, yeah, I think I prefer the other 4 players quite a lot, and Martinelli isn't a bad pick, so I'm kind of quite happy. I think with the left, it's just maybe Kane, Kane, Haaland could go in there. That's not a bad idea, but.
Yeah, okay. Nice. And Bailey on the right. I mean, I think he's definitely the best 5 mil mid. Are you not tempted to maybe go him on the left instead of Neto? Maybe you think Wolves and they're better than Bailey.
I think the Wolves fixtures are better. I mean, Villa's fixtures aren't bad, but I think they're not that easy either. Off the top of my head, I can't exactly remember all of them, but
Let's have a look. Bournemouth and then Everton, Palace away.
Yeah, I mean, Palace. Yeah, and then obviously they turn. I mean, the first 3 are decent. Although Palace away is not easy.
True.
And I remember last time we played Bournemouth away, first game of the season, we got beat. I think that was when Eddie Howe brought them up. Their first game in the Premier League went under Eddie Howe. We got beat there. I mean, not that that means anything, but that still sticks in my mind. We have a bad record against newly promoted teams on the first day of the season.
No, right, okay.
Well, in my head of the last few years, maybe that's why we weren't so good. But it's not easy to go to Bournemouth first day of the season. There's going to be bounce in there. So I don't think they're that amazing the first 7 fixtures, but but I think part of it is my bias of probably have a negative bias of Villa players because I always feel the worst, and I think when locking in Villa players and then we go and get beat, it'd be a double whammy. It's a bit like putting a bet on them in it. So
yeah, okay.
I think I mean I like Bailey, and if he stays fit, he definitely could get in the team, but I also think there's a bit of time maybe when late in the season I might get him in, but.
Yeah, okay. And what percentage likelihood are you Salah captain? Like 99.9? I actually got vice captain on Jesus. That's interesting. Not thinking Haaland or.
No.
Okay.
I think it'll be Salah. It'll be Salah. I'm 99% sure it's Salah. I just can't look anywhere else. He's always done the business, hasn't he? So
One thing I saw on Twitter today was really interesting was the top 3 point scorers for Gameweek 1 in the last 3 seasons, and maybe unsurprisingly, but they've all played at home. 3 seasons ago was Sterling. Can't remember who they were playing. I think it was West Ham. He got like 18 points or something crazy. 2 seasons ago was Salah at home to someone. Can't remember. I think that was 20 points. And then last season was Fernandes at home to Leeds, 20 points. So I don't know. It's just a funny observation where you're like, everyone's on Salah, but they are away. I know Fulham are, supposed to be quite leaky and gung ho, but that was just quite interesting. I think
that's the thing I never look at. That. I mean, if you look at my team on the left, I've got 11 away fixtures. I never noticed that really until you just said that, and now I'm thinking like, but then they are most of the big 6, so
that is nuts actually, isn't it? I've not noticed that.
One
on the right, there's only Son.
Yeah.
I wonder
so
if
it's only Spurs who've got that home fixture.
Yeah, it does. I wonder if it does sort of flip flop away and home for quite a while. Then, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Anything more on this? Or should we move on?
No, I don't think so. Happy to move on. Yeah.
So the sort of starting base team that I've got, which I was talking about, is here, and it's got 1 mil in the bank, and it's 4-4-2. So I think this is the kind of base team that I keep coming to, and then sort of making changes from, as I said earlier. So 1 mil in the bank's obviously quite a lot. There's loads of flexibility there. I've got, I think, all big 5 defences covered. And then obviously with 4-4-2, you're benching one in each position, so you can sort of change things around quite quickly. And then I've listed the sort of common changes that I've got, which is about 4 of them. Haaland to Kane, I'm pretty tempted by. And then, maybe booking in that transfer, or, if it's really, if Kane absolutely bangs and Haaland that's terrible, maybe don't do anything. But I still think that fixture swing is quite big. Although I think we were chatting about the guy who was on FPL the Wire a few weeks ago. FPL Irons was on there, and he was really discussing how solid Bournemouth are in defence. So I don't know, that keeps sticking with me. That I think, well, and it's you guys, isn't it, first day? So I think that'd be a really good test. Actually, that would be, if they were against Fulham or something, Bournemouth, I think that'd be quite a hard benchmark of how they're doing. But against you guys, I think that'd be quite indicative of what they're going to be like. If they keep beat 4-0, then blimey, it's going to be in trouble. But I imagine that, I'm wondering if that might be quite tight, and people might think, maybe Bournemouth isn't that much of a walkover for City in game week 2.
True.
Have to see. And then at the bottom, I've sort of got the downsides of each of these. So obviously, bringing in Kane for Haaland for game week 1 kind of makes you book in that transfer, which, as you said, is not great, because for sure I would love to roll the transfer and then do 2 or 3 ready for game week 3. Next one is a goalie change. Although Ramsdale is good Arsenal cover, he's not probably going to get as many points as Gabriel or Zinchenko, and the only way to do that would be to go 5 at the back, but then that removes some flexibility. So that's why I've sort of summarised the downside of removing Ramsdale, as you're obviously going to ditch Arsenal. And although I do quite like Sarr, Nick's point on his performance on the goalkeeper graph we had last week was quite interesting. He was really high up on that. So that's interesting he's gone there. But Mendy, Edison, Ray are options as well. Thirdly, Nico Williams. This is the one I'm really torn on, which we've talked about. I've got Saka in here at the moment, but you can save 2 mil to get Martinelli, and then spend 3 mil to get Nico to Robertson. I'm really not big on Luis Diaz. I think I'm probably more likely to go with what's on the screen here than go with Diaz and a triple up. But I think if I do go triple Liverpool, it'll be Robertson. But then downside of that is Saka maybe on pens, and if you got Martinelli, great, you got 2 mil extra to play with. But if you don't have pens, that's not great. And then obviously that switch makes that 1 mil in the bank go down to 0. And then fourthly, Perisic and James, I do see quite a few teams without them, and that's the obvious sort of cash cow in defence to move to maybe a 5 mil defender. So I don't really think there's 4.5 great options, but that would free up some money to do something. But then you lose the Tottenham Chelsea defensive coverage. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah. So I Saka, I haven't really considered him. I'll be honest. 8 mil. I definitely would be on Martinelli, Odegaard, probably ahead of Saka. Lewis. Lewis. The 8 mil midfield is interesting. Yeah, having that flexibility in whatever, and that's what I've got with Diaz. But it doesn't bother me too much, because I think probably in a couple of weeks I'm going to make 2 or 3 transfers, so I'll probably be able to move it around if needed. So, Saka's interesting, and I probably hadn't considered him. Just having Saka and Jesus, it's 2 8 mil Arsenal attackers. That's too much Arsenal for me, but
you've seen his pre-season form; he's been right on it. So is Martinelli, but Nick obviously argued with the best way to not get it wrong is to have all 3. That is quite a lot of money.
No, absolutely.
That's interesting. Did you not have him much last season, Saka?
I did get him in, but he was a lot cheaper than he was, like 6.5 or something, wasn't he, or whatever. Yeah. So I had him in as a bit, rotate him in. I think he would play most of my games probably in the middle of the season, but I think I finished him as well. But so no, I don't mind him. I just I think 8 mil maybe. I don't rate him at that price.
Okay.
But yeah, and then Perisic, I'm just not sure about Spurs fullbacks. And
Right.
I know he, there's a lot of chat about when he played under Conte last time, and
Yep.
get him in the beginning before they start rotating for Europe and stuff. But they've got quite a few fullbacks, haven't they? So
Yeah.
and he might not play 60 minutes. So with 5 subs, so I think that's just I know that's true of all the fullbacks, but he just put me off a little bit. Although again, I am worried about no Spurs, but I don't know who I'd get. I mean, he's probably is the one you'd get, but and his ownership's pretty sizable, isn't it? So that is a bit of a worry. But
I don't
yeah,
think
maybe
it's too mega. I know it's over 10%. Someone on Twitter today was slagging off
yeah,
people that you can't believe is over 10%, but I don't think it's, I want to say like 25. It's not crazy.
yeah. I was gonna say 20. Yeah, 20 something. I saw that. So
I mean, a week ago, you're right. I was totally not on Perisic, but the weekend change where he got, did he get 90 minutes or 70 or something? But he started and apparently was really good again.
yeah,
That has swayed me a bit, and I see him a little bit like that bloody James coming back from injury, game week 28, whatever it was last season when Nick got him and captained him a bit. He's that explosive, and I get what was it under Conte? Something like, what was it? He started 24 games but came off in like 10 of them before 60 minutes. He really is a 1-pointer or a 10-pointer, but I don't know, like you say, I think if he's going to do anything start the seasons when they've got 1 game a week, Conte loves that in his high press system. He's been talking him up a little bit, but that one will definitely come down to the wire for sure. That'll be a Friday press conference and react to it kind of position.
yeah, sure. And then Ramsdale's interesting as well. I probably wouldn't go Ramsdale, but I probably would prefer Sarr but I guess it's just Arsenal coverage at the back. But I think again Ramsdale just ended last season was quite poor, wasn't he? I had him for quite a long time, and
Yeah,
I
it was.
didn't want to spend the transfer to get rid.
Yeah,
I appreciate that's like last season, but I think it's put me off a little bit.
yeah, that's
So
fair.
probably yeah. I mean, Mendy, 5 mil, not bad. Saab, I like that stat on the last episode about his save percentage or whatever is
Like XG prevented was really high, and he's actually played quite a few
was
games
really
in the
good.
Prem. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that was really nice. I mean, Edison. I'm not really that excited about Edison, but again, he's going to get some clean sheets.
6-point ceiling, but it's so likely compared to any other 6 points in
yeah,
goalkeeper.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's interesting because we've only got 4 players different. What's that? Ramsdale, Perisic, Bailey, and Saka.
Yeah.
But but then it also seems, just on paper, there's still quite a difference in this. So maybe I need to reconsider Diaz. I don't know. I just don't know where to put the money. If I don't put it on him, I'm like, well, I don't really know what I would do with it. I think. And just 5 at the back. Could go 5 at the back. But I don't know. Something about me that I don't like 5 at the back. I don't know. The Nico Williams 4 mil enabler just shouts at me. So I feel like I've got to go 4-4-2, which it's part of the reason that I'm swaying. I was thinking I'll spend the money on Diaz, but because I can't reach the Son that I want or the Kane that I want really.
Yeah. Well, one definite thing with this, which is totally covering bases, is exactly that in defence. It's like one of each, but then you're not probably going to get a massive game rank doing that. That's when you should be doubling or tripling up on defences. So that is proper boring for me to do that, but at least I'm not going to miss one.
Yeah, true.
But I know what you mean. The 4-4-2 is good. Nico Williams is surely going to go up in price, even if he just gets 1 or 2 pointers for Forest. So that's one spot you've not really got to worry about. Unless the fullbacks are just amazing. You do need 5 defenders, but it's hard to predict that. I think with Chelsea and flux, and like you say, Spurs have got loads of fullbacks.
Yeah. And I think the same with James. It's just I don't. He's probably one that I would consider moving off. If I could get like a Robertson or someone, I probably would move James to Robertson. But just again, if he goes off, you just covered it, haven't you? And that Chelsea, I know they're they've not been great in pre-season. We don't know if he's going to play right centre back or right wing back, but worried he turned up with 18-pointer and relatively, it's pretty high ownership. So Yeah, that's the reason he's in my team, even though I don't necessarily think he's the greatest pick probably right now.
Yeah, just remember that stat with someone, I think we said a couple of weeks ago, what was it, 5 points a game rather than Robertson's 6. And I think in the Community Shield he was really good when Firmino was playing Diaz. He was really getting beyond Firmino and playing like a left forward, but when Darwin came on he was more like a winger and hugging the touchline. So I think there's a bit of uncertainty about that as well. With Jota out, obviously he's going to play a lot, but he's obviously not as nailed in Robertson. Yeah, you save that money.
Yeah,
Tricky.
yeah. I think if I was dropping down to a 6-7 mil midfielder, I think that's the bit I just don't know who I'd put in there, and that's the reason I've kind of, because I've already got Martinelli.
Yeah,
that's
he's
the reason I haven't.
One.
Yeah, so I think that's my problem at the moment, is I don't know where to spend that kind of 1.52 mil. Well, I do know where to spend it, but I don't know who to downgrade to get to release it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I think there's still probably not Edison, Zinchenko, Diaz could, or those maybe James, those 4 could change. But I think Zinchenko's probably fairly nailed. But yeah, Edison, James, and Diaz, that's the bit I'd probably change if I tinker before Friday.
Yep. Okay, should we move on?
Yep, let's do it.
So we're going to look at the just an update on the pre-season and go through the sort of teams that we're interested in. We covered this last week, and shout out to FPL Pete with an underscore on Twitter who's put this together, which is well handy. So yeah, it might be a bit tricky to see, Tom, sorry, but Arsenal first, they did their last friendly against Sevilla, 6-0 they won. So that's a clean sweep of 6 wins out of 6 in pre-season. I watched the highlights of this, but it was quite a while ago. But yeah, I think this is when Jesus did he get a hat-trick in this? Saka got the pen, which he won, and there's a whole debate about who's on pens for Arsenal. But I mean, I think this just confirms like Jesus is a pretty much lock, and yeah, you've got to have a midfielder probably, and it's just which do you choose. Interesting, you're on Odegaard. Yeah, so he's got 1 goal in pre-season. Saka's got 3. Martinelli's got 1 and 6 assists.
Yeah, I think Odegaard's it's just the nailedness of Odegaard. He will play. That's the problem. Martinelli is he will get rotated probably at some point. Whereas Odegaard isn't. But then, if you're gonna, I think if it was Saka for a bit more than Martinelli, I'd consider it. But it's 2 mil. It's too much for me. So I think it would Martinelli, and if he gets benched a few times, then it'll be Nico Williams and Andres Pereira. Hope they bang a few in from the bench.
But you say about the minutes, I mean, pre-season can't read too much into it. Martinelli 320, Odegaard 250, but then Saka's the lowest of them all on 220. This is interesting. But
yeah, I just think Odegaard hasn't got much competition for that spot, has he really?
No,
but,
true.
And he's on free kicks and bits and bobs. But I don't love him either. I mean, probably if there was a better option 6.5, I would consider over Odegaard. But just the nailedness, I think he probably is more nailed than Martinelli, but obviously probably still less nailed than Saka. But Arsenal. I think you've got to go triple Arsenal in one way or another. So that's what I'll be doing.
But that Palace fixture does worry me a little bit. I can imagine a little bit, maybe a disappointment. Maybe it'll only be like a 1 or 2-0, but I'm hoping in the long term they'll be good. It's a bit like Haaland in that first game. It's like how much weight do you put in the not ideal fixture, and then able to change it straight away. For a big hitter, maybe it's all right, but I think 2 or 3 Arsenal's pretty essential.
Yeah, I mean the fixtures are good, aren't they? For the first 9 games or something, 8 games. So apart from Man United, but
that's right.
They'll be like so I think I'm happy that certainly until the first wild card, which I don't know when that will be exactly, but I'm happy with triple Arsenal. I think for the first 5, 6, 7, 8 game weeks, however long we need it to be.
Yeah, first 8 are lush, and then Spurs and Liverpool 9 and 10 back to back, not great, and then City in 12. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
I'm sure by then will have wildcarded probably.
Yeah, I haven't really put in the wild card either. I'm pretty flexible on it, but yeah, there's that international break, 8 to 9. So that'd be actually quite a good time to jump off Arsenal. So I've kind of got my eye on that, just because rather than a big fixture swing, it's just we're probably going to have triple or double Arsenal, and then they kind of turn quite a bit. So that's maybe a good time in this international break, and benefits of having a bit of time with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Next then, your boys. Villa beat Stade Rennais 2-1, and yeah, it's all about Bailey, really, isn't it? 3 goals, 1 assist. It's quite good. Striker's not really doing anything. Martinez is slightly interesting me for the 5 mil keeper spot if it didn't go Ramsdale. Have you watched any pre-season? Does he look in or out of form, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I always think Martinez looks in form. I think he's a safe pair of hands, and he's not going to make too many mistakes. So I think the big thing about Villa is, how do we shape up in midfield? Now we've got Kamara kind of as a CDM. I think that's what we've been crying out for quite a while. Been playing players like McGinn and Louise in position in there, and Nakamba, and it just that's where we've been overrunning midfield. So I think we sort that out. Obviously, we've got Diego Carlos as well at centre back. So yeah, I think our defence will be pretty decent, but I think for me the fixture's not amazing. I know, it's probably just, kind of a bit set and forget. But if I'm going to wildcard in the first 8 game weeks, I don't think Villa's fixtures for the first 8 game weeks are amazing. So, I mean, Palace, West Ham's not that great. Arsenal, Man City.
They're quite polar, aren't they? There's some good ones, but then there's also some pretty dodgy ones. City and Arsenal, like you say.
Yeah, I just think if you look at that, and then you look at maybe like Wolves, if you want to think about Sarr, or you want to look at Edison, or even like Mendy, I think their fixtures are better for the first 8 game weeks. So that's where I'll be probably putting it. To be honest, not Martinez, but yeah, I mean, I think he's a quality keeper and good shot stopper, isn't he? So
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, Bailey's interesting. I mean, if he stays fit, he's the kind of player that I think he's got that dynamism to him. He can beat a man, hit a rocket.
Rapid, isn't he?
I mean, the one he scored against Stade Rennais, it was a scuff shot into the ground that went looped over the keeper. I mean, it was like hardly like a perler, but he he looks. I think up front we're not. I mean, yeah, maybe we'll come on to it later, but Watkins, Ings, I think we're struggling a bit in centre forward, but yeah, Coutinho, Bailey could be tasting on the wings, and yeah, obviously it's a great price at 5 mil. It's just his fitness again. I mean, he didn't get many games last season because every time he turned up, he pulled something. So,
okay.
Famously hit a shot that broke his toe because he hit it so hard. That was that Everton, I think it was, or something. So,
right, okay.
But yeah, so yeah, interesting. I mean, Bailey's. I think he's the pick, isn't he, at the midfielders, but for Villa. But I think Douglas Luiz will be interesting this season if he can nail down that spot, and he's got the cover in Kamara. Then he's also 5 mil and maybe playing as more of a number 8 rather than number 6. I think he could be interesting, but he always flatters to deceive a little bit. But then he's been playing a bit out of position, so I think he's one that I'll be watching for the first few weeks, making those runs from kind of like number 8 role. But we'll see.
Yeah, 5 mil, that's decent. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll skip Bournemouth, Brentford. Just going to Chelsea quickly. Let's see what. Unfortunately, I haven't got this bye game. Chelsea's last one, they beat Udinese 3-1. James's minutes seem pretty solid, but still, defensive returns are only with Alonso with 1 assist. So your pal Mounts, though, probably the pick of Chelsea on form. I think Sterling scored in this game, from what I remember, but he's got 2 goals in pre-season, Mount. So how tempted are you to go with him?
I don't think not at 8 mil. I don't think so. Yeah, he did well for me last season, but
I can see myself having him at some point this season, I think. But those first couple, I think it's wait and see with Chelsea. But they've got Leeds in game week 3, and actually they've got really nice fixtures.
Yeah. I just think if I'm gonna move away from Diaz, it'll probably be to have a cheaper midfielder than an 8 mil, and then it'll probably be to put more money into like a Robbo or someone. So I don't think you had to talk about going to Kulu, but I don't think I will. I think I don't like many of the options at 8 mil, but yeah, I'll probably keep an eye on Mount. He's always pops up now and again, but I'd say it's probably slightly overpriced at 8 mil. But
Diaz to Mount game week 3 though could be quite tempting, or Diaz to Kulu. Fixture swinging that. I mean, Man U, I don't know if it's going to be the same as last season, but that is the obvious time, I think, to get off Liverpool assets if Diaz isn't banging in.
Yeah, no, for sure, yeah.
I don't think there's anything much interesting with Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Fulham. I think we can skip. Leeds, Leicester we're going to talk about a bit later, but I think their pre-season's that interesting. Oh, apart from just checking out actually how many minutes Ward has got, I think, wasn't it, he was carrying a knock or something? Yeah, 0 minutes. So, but like you said earlier, it seems to be the person to go to now, doesn't it, for a 4 mil backup keeper?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, are they going to get anyone else? I mean, I think the Schmeichel thing sounds like it's going to happen, right? So then they've got that Everson chap on the books not in the game or whatever. So I don't know who. I don't know who. Yeah, like if they bring him, if they turns how they price him, and
okay, yeah, I was going to say who's been playing the minutes. Yeah, Everson 278. He's played more minutes than Schmeichel.
Yeah. So he's So exactly, he's Ward even nailed, but if he's got a knot, maybe he's nailed. But yeah, I mean, it could be. It depends if they bring in Everson, they price him at 4.5. That'd be a bit of a shame. If they brought him at a 4 mil, and they're the two keepers, then I probably would consider going to 4 mils. But I'm wishful thinking. I think that probably maybe the Son move is back on if I have 2 4 mil keepers. But that would be great if they drop that on Thursday night. It's just so I can have no sleep on Thursday night and think about that all night.
Yeah, I hadn't thought that. I'll keep my eye on that. But yeah, the 2 4 mils would be quite funny.
Yeah.
But they've actually got pretty good pre-season form. Lost, drew, and then won 4 in a row. So, I mean, I know Nick was saying about the only team not to have signed someone in the in the sort of elite Europe leagues. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It's just really hard to know where to put your money, isn't it? Like in the defense, I mean, obviously someone like Fofana, if he does go to Chelsea or something, that might be interesting in a few weeks' time or something. But the fullbacks, they're all well priced, but I wouldn't know where to. James Justin sounds good, doesn't he? But is he gonna play? Yeah. So I think at the moment I'm just avoiding Leicester altogether, apart from maybe Ward.
That's fair enough. Liverpool quickly we'll come on to later. I don't think there's massive things going on here. I mean, Darwin's form's pretty crazy. Are you interested in him at all?
I am interested for sure. I don't think I'll start with him. I just think Firmino's going to get minutes, isn't he? He's going to play at least some of them. So I don't want to put Darwin 9 mil in a player that he might only play 50% of the matches. But I mean, he looks good, doesn't he? And if he does nail down the side, then him coming in at 9 mil as a centre forward is very interesting for sure.
Yeah. Did you watch the Community Shield?
I watched the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even see that, but I gather he was pretty electric when he came on for just the last 35 minutes, but got a goal and assist in that time and changed the game.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah, he looks a proper player. I mean, Firmino, I've had him in and out a few times the last 3 years, and he's always been disappointing. Basically, you always think, oh, he's quite well priced into that Liverpool front three, but never really stitched together a consistent set of returns. So if Darwin could push him out, and I know then that's definitely something I'd look at because he's obviously pretty cheap.
Yep. City next. I mean, the fact that Foden played a little bit is kind of reassuring because I still think I'm going to own him at some point this season. Grealish just, so I gather, was quite wide and didn't really do much. So 2 assists, great, but I don't think I'm tempted by him.
Yeah, I think I'd like. I mean, I'd love to see although he's obviously left Villa, I'd love to see him get some form together because I think when he's on it, he's a fantastic player to watch. I'd like to see him go past people and put a ball in, and Haaland be on the end of it and be the finisher. But I don't know if that's really, I just think he doesn't really fit the system that they've got. So wait and see on Grealish. But yeah, if he can nail down, I just think he's City midfielders, unless it's Kevin De Bruyne, you're just asking for trouble, aren't you? So. I'll probably
and the
avoid.
Haaland performance was a bit weird because some people are like jumping off him because he didn't score and he missed that sitter and that is that low confidence, but other people are like, if anything, get on it because he had I think 1.4 xg in that game and everyone's like, on another day he's going to score 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. City have they're a bit weird. I think again I got that Bournemouth difficulty in my head of the newly promoted teams, even though Howell's come out I think and said they haven't really got a defence and there's loads of problems there. And it needs new signings and stuff, but then City haven't really got much for a pre-season under their belt. They've only played 3 games. That being beaten by Liverpool's not a biggie, but that might be a bit of a worry. So that's why I'm kind of tempted just to risk Haaland not for that first game. Hopefully Kane gets 15 points or something, and then make the move, and it would have paid for itself.
Yeah, and that's something that maybe I should consider as well after having this chat. I was kind of like, I don't want to do it, but maybe I should be considering that. Maybe I need to take a bit more risk, but I do play it safe in the first few game weeks probably, and just try not to lose a lot of rank. And
no, I'm definitely on board with that.
Yeah, I'm probably more on your style than Nick's. Probably a bit more gung ho, maybe. But I think I think I might. I don't know. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you on Friday morning. I'll have a sleep on it.
And sorry, it's not Howard Bournemouth, isn't it? Who's Bournemouth manager? I'm like 2 seasons out.
It's
Can't remember.
I forgot his name.
Okay, it'll come to us. Newcastle, maybe just quickly. Trippier's the only one really in here that I'm tempted by. Have you thought about him at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Scott Parker, Bournemouth manager, isn't it? By the way.
Oh, yeah.
So I couldn't think of him, but yeah. Yeah, Trippier. I thought about Trippier. Definitely, obviously, yeah. I think of all the assets there, he's the one that I would go with. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't go Matt Target.
Their fixtures they've got a good first one.
Yeah.
Is it Forest? And then it's a bit tricky.
They're all right, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think again they haven't made the moves in the transfer market that I thought maybe they would. So I think they'll be obviously mid-table, maybe upper mid-table. But I think that kind of 7 to 12 positions are quite open. I think, aren't they? So they could be anywhere in there. I think. At the moment there's not really anyone that's really interested me that much. I forgot what his name is then. Botman, for 4.5 or whatever, but I probably won't go there. I think I'll probably wait and see. And again, the fixtures aren't great, so I would probably avoid them. I think when you can have like the most of the back 4 or 5 of kind of top 6 teams, I think it's difficult to then justify going for Newcastle. But at this point,
agreed.
Trippier 5 is interesting, but.
He would be a classic sort of attacking fullback where you can get points at either end of the pitch, which would be good. But I think after that first 1 or 2, it's tricky. But then from game week 6, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I think it's 4.5 he'd be in the team, but 5, I'm just like,
yeah.
I could pick him over Zinchenko, but I think Arsenal's fixture better. So
yeah. Spurs just put on for the temptation of Son 2 goals, 4 assists. Kane 5 goals, 1 assist. From what I gather from the whole Conte thing with they're making them throw up and 1 game a week, and then those 2 looking electric. That's why I'm tempted to get one, even just 1 week. And the whole Southampton, I think it was away, they've always battered them, isn't it, when Son got 4 goals, but still that first game of the season could be quite cool. And you pointing out that everyone's away, that's slightly tempted me a bit more to go with that punt for 1 game week. But that would be a bit risky if I had nothing in the bank, because I would then be bricking it if Haaland bangs and then I've got to make that move early.
Yeah, that is the one worry in my team is no Spurs. Have you considered anyone apart from Kane and Son on Paris? Obviously,
no, not really. I cooled a little bit like a couple of weeks ago, but no, not really. Someone did sort of remind me how great he was. Again, his price was 6 mil, and he was on like 5 points per game, so it's good return. But I just think you're going to want. I don't know. Maybe if the fixtures were a bit better long term for him, you could sort of stick him in and not worry about him. But I think you're just going to want Son, or you're going to think there's people with better fixtures.
Yeah.
For 8 mil.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think Kulu is that you only get there if you can't get to Kane and Son, and I think it's a bit of a bit of a compromise on too much maybe.
Yeah, and it's the Richarlison effect a little bit. Is he going to be one of the victims of that after his suspension? So
yeah, that's true. Surely they paid 50-60 mil. He's going to get some minutes somewhere.
Yeah. And then Wolves quickly. Let's look at lastly. It looks like they had an A and a B team playing in their 2 last games, 1 day apart. Drew 1-1, drew 1-1. Yeah, I mean Podence is also slightly tempted, and Gibbs White. They're all 5.5. Bit of chat about Podence maybe playing the false 9. I don't know whether that's a bit of an overcomplicating thing a little bit, but false 9 is a bit more tempting than left forward on paper. But Neto's slightly better form.
Is Jimenez out? Do we know? Is he?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know for how long. And I was listening to something this morning saying how crazy it is that they've sent Fabio Silva out on loan and not getting anyone in. How does that look for the Wolves fans? So could go a bit badly wrong, I think. But for 5.5 in those fixtures, like you say, I'll definitely go with someone. And I have been tempted to double up, but I think Bailey being 5 mil, spreading that risk, I think it's risky enough having those 2 rather than 2 Wolves 5.5s. So I think I'll just go with Neto and hope.
Yeah, exactly. And to get like a premium, you could have Podence and Neto and Bailey, but
yeah, that's pretty mad.
I mean, yeah, you might be ranked first in the world, or you might be ranked 7 mil. So.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, should we move on to Twitter bits?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I like this little graphic, and as we've got the Villa expert on, percentages of FPL Villain on Twitter putting this on of people starting. So basically, they think they're 90 to 100% able to predict the first team apart from this starting striker. Bailey's included, which is good. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, this is the team he played against Stade Rennais. Okay. But yeah, apparently they played a friendly with Fulham the day before behind closed doors or whatever, which, like Mings and Chambers played at centre back and stuff. Yeah, Konsa, will he actually, a lot of the noises are that Mings is gonna be benched. Obviously during the captaincy. Konsa's been playing alongside Carlos, but that's a big call to drop Mings. And I think Konsa, I wouldn't put him as high as 90. I'd say he was a bit less. And he also had a poor end last season. I thought Konsa actually didn't, since he signed him, it's been fantastic, but I thought he didn't finish the season too well. So I think Gerald, obviously, Mings has had a few mistakes in perhaps. He has dropped down to third choice centre back, but probably I would say Konsa's more like 60%. I would say not 90. But other than that, I think it's pretty much. I think Watkins will start. I mean, again, he looks a bit shorn of confidence. He needs a goal, really. I think I listened to some Villa podcasts and after the Stade Rennais fixture, they basically said he needs to bang a couple of goals in. So if Gameweek 1 he bangs a couple of goals in, then we might be talking. But I do worry a bit about that centre forward position. And does Ings really fit in there? I don't know, but I think maybe Watkins is a bit higher, Konsa's a bit lower. Everyone else, I would agree. I think Luis will start there. Obviously, Ramsey drops to the bench, and Buendia is not in the team. But I think on balance, Luis and McGinn, it's kind of like 2 number 8s. I think is probably what we'll start with. So pretty good, I think.
What about Digne versus Cash and the fact they've got Kamara and Carlos in there for big money? Do you think that, in one hand I'm like, we'll avoid Villa because they've changed one of their centre backs and their CDM, but then I gather they're pretty decent and good money, and Digne and Cash are going to be bombing forward again like last season. Yeah,
exactly. And hopefully with Kamara in that gives us a bit more cover, because last season when the ball was getting turned over, we were quite weak in the middle, and then we basically were getting overrun through, kind of through that central defensive midfielder position. So I think it does strengthen them. And I like both of them. I think they're both good players. Digne is always a bit of a fitness war. I think Cash, unless he gets suspended, which he does love a yellow card. But he'll play probably 35 games a season. Digne, he'll probably miss 5 or 10 through niggles and whatever. We haven't got great cover. We've got Ashley Young. We've got what's his name? Augustinson, or whatever his name is. That guy we signed as left back cover, and we've got some young players like Kessler Hayden, who can play right back. But we haven't got a lot else, I guess, at full back positions. I mean, I guess you could play James there. Maybe Constance played at right back before, but I mean, they are pretty nailed, I would say. If they fit, they're starting most games.
Okay. And then the right was the little cheeky stat where someone's reminding us of what Jimenez does to Wolves, and Neto is getting a goal or an assist almost 3 times quicker when Jimenez is on the when Jimenez is on the pitch. So the fact they haven't got Jimenez is a bit of a worry. But I don't know. I still just think this is one little extra thing to throw into the mix. But I still think those fixtures are crazy. He's 5.5. I need that sort of price point. Just going to go with it. But the writing's on the wall a little bit there.
Yeah. I think I'll have Neto. I think because I need that 5.5. As you say. I guess that's just because they go a bit more. They're quite direct, aren't they? And I guess Jimenez is. If Podence is playing false 9, are they going to be able to hold the ball up and running behind? Like if Neto is a bit of a speed merchant, so you want to run in behind off Jimenez and stuff like that. But
yeah.
The
thing actually I'm just looking at with if I do go Bailey and Neto is that their 2 opening fixtures are goodish, according to the sticker anyway, with bluey whitish ones, but then they both have quite tricky game week 3 fixtures. So I don't know. I think if I do go Kane and nothing else happens, classic, no injuries or whatever, maybe I would do that Haaland move and then try and roll one. I know that wouldn't work, sorry. But I would. I was just thinking if I could roll one, I could make then those 2 moves in midfield and get rid of those 2 if they're not hitting it. But the fact they've got 2 games to sort of do something is quite nice.
Yeah, I think if you've got to play Bailey against Palace, it's not the end of the world.
Maybe.
We beat Palace a few times. A few times last. I'm not on Vieira as much, but I don't think it's a fixture that we're not going to get. We'll probably score. I reckon. Probably can see. But...
Okay, some other Twitter bits I thought was interesting. So Andy, obviously the big podcast guy, you must have heard of Let's Talk FPL.
Yeah.
So he has got this post saying that I guess this is within the Twitter community, Kane is almost twice as owned as Haaland, which is pretty mad because certainly the overall team selected by I saw was the other way around. So that suggests quite a few more people than we think maybe in Twitter sphere are going with Kane, but overall people are just seeing shiny new Haaland and going with him. So I don't know. It's one of those where what do you do with that information? Does that make you less or more likely to do one or the other? I just thought it was quite interesting.
It's interesting that 10% or 9.2% have neither. That's quite interesting. But so I guess this is people who are more actively playing it or looking for information, I guess. So
probably
maybe,
if they're
probably doing the switch. I guess the Kane Haaland switch, maybe more a certain percentage of those people will be doing that. So
that's it. Maybe more people than we think doing that move. Well, probably.
Maybe I should do it.
And then on the right is what we've been talking about. The Robbo plus 1 mil. It's actually 0.5 as Nick was saying, and what to do with that. That is a really tricky one, but I think I'm about 80% certain on that one, which is quite good because there's bound to be someone on Friday that's going to sort of turn me up a bit, and it's going to be 50-50. So I'm for the moment kind of glad that's not one of them. If I go with Robbo, I think it's.
Yeah, I think that's it. If there was a 7 mil midfielder if I liked, I'll be on Robbo, which makes me think I should. Well, but what does it matter if it's 6 mil or maybe I should just go Bailey and have 3 mil in the bank. I don't know, or 2 mil in the bank. But I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably go back and revisit that because that keeps something I keep toying with. I keep putting Robbo in, taking Robbo out. I think I'm always slow to get on Robbo and do the Trent Robbo double up. It's not something I've really done in the past and has burned me because a few people have obviously done it. So it does make sense when you look at his returns. But then how do the 5 subs impact as well? But are they really going to play Simicast and people?
Yeah, I doubt it at the beginning. But then just what I'm hearing about, again, going back to that FPL Lions podcast, that Fulham are apparently just so gung-ho that it could be like 6-1 that game. So that's great. But if Fulham are going to attack, and they're going to be open, is that going to be recipe for conceding? Palace are a bit of a bogey team for Liverpool. Okay, it's Anfield, but that could be tricky. And United by game week 3 surely going to put up a bit of a fight. So I don't know. There's only 3 I'm not sure are quite as easy for defence as I think. But then after that, Bournemouth and Newcastle at home, that's decent. And then Everton, the derby could be tight. So
Yeah.
I think 1 or 2 is fine, but I'm not too worried if it is just Trent.
Yeah, I mean on balance, I mean those fixtures are lovely, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really, I think. And Fulham, it's still Fulham, isn't it? It'd be interesting to see how they come, how they perform this year. And yeah, Mitro might bang in a couple in the first 10 minutes, and they might go and concede 5.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
And then at the bottom, this is interesting about, do we actually need an 8 million midfielder? Because they're just sort of poking holes in every option that there is. Saka, okay, but there's Martinelli and Jesus, Kulu, maybe Richarlison's going to come in, as we've said, etc. I mean, Maddison was in a few of my early teams, but then there's the Leicester, what are they up to? And is Maddison pissed off not getting his big move going somewhere? So that does comfort me slightly that I don't need an 8 million midfielder, because if I don't go Saka, then I would go Martinelli, and then I would put the money elsewhere, and it'd be really hard to get to. But it does make me a bit nervous. Do you know what I mean? You'd have Saka and then no price points down to until 6 mil. That's tricky to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's not something I normally really worry about too much, having the spread, but I think it's I think if you go down to Bailey at 5 mil, who would you go? Between 5 and 8, there's not much in there that I really like at all. So
not at the
maybe
beginning,
I just take Bailey and leave a million in the bank like you've done. I mean, that is one way of doing it, but that also rankles me thinking, I can't have picked the best team if I've done that. But that's
I'm not against it, to be honest. I would kind of like that, and then you can just jump on more options, like if Rashford does go off, or Grealish or something like that, or Lingard. But it's also a bit weird going with a mil.
And I guess you don't have to worry about reacting after the first minute of the game when someone's banged in 2, and then suddenly the price rises are flying up there. You can afford to not worry about it if you got half a mil in the bank or a mil in the bank. I guess there's that. So because that's probably what I'd been a bit knee jerking after the first game week when you go, my team's terrible and I need to wild card, and then you've basically if you left it 2 weeks, you probably would have been vindicated eventually. But
yeah. And then the last Twitter one, this was quite cool, and it stood the test of time that Focal put together. And did you see this? It's quite a good table. And
I think you shared it before, I think, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Just a short list of kind of players and his consideration in 3 price tiers, and then by position. So premium midfielder, really. He thinks the only people that are being considered there is Salah. I mean, it's interesting that Son's not in there. Maybe just out of courtesy you should put them in there. But this is almost a bit of a checklist that on Friday, if you get a bit creative and moving people around, I think I have pretty much only considered people on this list, so it is quite a good little look up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think Son is the only one I've considered, but I can't get him in without breaking something else. So I think I'm resigned to the fact that I'm not going to get Son. Kane, maybe, but I hate not having Son, because he's always the guy that burns you, I think. And I've had so many good times with him. I think that it's gonna be hard to watch that first game of the season without him.
Yeah, Salah to Son game week 3 could be a thing.
You can't go to Salah, can you? You just can't. I don't know.
In a way, I know he did it last season, but I don't know. Hopping off at the right time is important as well. And if they've got a crappy fixture, that's the only time you're going to get rid of him if he doesn't do something.
Yeah,
I'm going to get rid after that.
I just think those fixtures after, there's going to be some holes there for Salah. So
yeah,
I can't see me getting rid of him unless he gets injured.
Yeah, fair enough. 5 mil keepers, actually, he's only got Mendy here, which is interesting, because I was thinking, Sarr, Ramsdale. Who else was I thinking?
Yeah,
I do
like Sarr, but I don't know. They did a pretty good clean sheet record in the last season, Wolves. So
Nick was on him, that red hot kind of 4 to 14 or something period. Did you have him last season?
No, not at all.
I don't remember it being the best fixtures on paper.
For a bit, I think.
Yeah, okay. And there's a few transfers, talking points for stuff we may or may not have covered. Booking game week 2 transfer, kind of talked about that. You're not against it, but not probably going to do it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, coming in, I was like, not going to do it, but now I feel I'm like, I might do it. Maybe I'm like, I've gone from 10% chance of it happening to maybe 30% over the course of this last hour. But I think it's something I need to think about. Maybe I should do it if it is more likely going to happen. Maybe I should just do it. And just again, it's that kind of thing. It's like maybe we'll come into it in a minute, but it's just that a few times last season I thought I didn't really follow the crowd or do, and I think I did hit me quite hard on a few things, like the triple captain Salah on the 29 point or whatever he got. That was painful. I did captain, but not triple captained, and it's things like that. It's like, and everyone was like, I'm going to do it, and I was like, I'll do something different, and then I think maybe I should just do what everyone does, a bit more like to, because generally have good returns, and it's a fairly good scores, but I kind of miss some of those big peaks, so maybe I need to try and get a few more of those peaks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll come on to what the sort of plan is for the season, what you're going to do different after this one.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think we've covered 5 to 5.5 mil midfielders, Bailey, and then the 3 Wolves guys. Ward as a 4 mil sub keeper we've discussed. I think that looks like it's a good thing to go for. Leicester assets, you sort of raised this. I mean, I've not thought about any really since this. I wasn't really on it, but all these rumours of finance stuff maybe going on, and Madison being a night to night move. People were kind of on Vestergaard a little bit, weren't they, early on? And like you say, they got a lot of 4.5 defenders, but it's who's going to play.
Yeah, exactly. I think wait and see. I don't think their fixtures are that good, are they? So yeah, maybe something to look at on the wild card.
Yeah, Ross Bardwell's got to be tempted by Vardy, surely. If he's listening, congratulations on his
How old's
new
Vardy now?
family.
He's like 47.
Yeah, exactly. But Ross will probably go triple captain in the first week.
You'll be giving him a hamstring massage just in case.
Yeah. Best 5 mil keeper, I think we've kind of discussed. Sarr and Ramsdale and Mendy definitely options. Are you not tempted by Mendy?
Yeah, I think if I need the 0.5, or if I go Walker,
okay.
I probably won't do. Then I could. Like, one way of getting to Robertson would be to go down to Mendy, and then I don't know, if I rejig the back line, then I would consider Mendy. I don't think that. I mean, he's not the greatest shot stopper, I don't think, but they'll have pretty good defense with Koulibaly and whoever else they end up signing. So
yeah,
I think I would still consider them.
Okay. Number 6, Villa assets, we've kind of gone over.
Yep.
I mean, how tempted are you to, like, what are you, probably 30% on Bailey and like less than 10 on anyone else?
Yeah, I think Bailey's the only one I would get for Gameweek 1. I think because he's cheap, and if he does get doesn't go off, it's not the end of the world. I just don't think our fixtures are as good. For a 5 mil cash or Dina, I wouldn't do it for the fixtures we've got. I think there are better options out there for 5 mil. Like I said, I'm watching Douglas Luiz at 5 mil for later in the season, and Watkins is a bit streaky, isn't he? So it's frustrating to own and doesn't really fit the. I don't really want a third striker at this point unless it was Kane. So I think at the moment I won't. I'll have Archer because I like the look of him off the as a 4.5. He might get a few minutes now and again, but he's third choice striker, so not many.
I was going to say he's still behind Watkins and Ings, but if you play 2 up top, he's likely to come on, or they might even actually go through all 3 of them if it's 1 up top.
I think he's going to get minutes. I think he would be a bit of a breakthrough season for him. And he's a finisher. Like when he come on in the Carabao Cup, when he played for Preston on loan, he did bang a few in. So I think sticking him on for 10, 15 minutes at the end when we need a goal, I think he's a bit of a poacher and he could do the business a little bit. So I don't really like any of the 4.5, so I'll just go with him.
Yeah.
If he gets the odd goal and it comes on his third sub when I really need it, then that'll be amazing, obviously.
Yeah. Number 7, best 4.5 defender. So yeah, we didn't touch on this too much, but it sounds like you're more in need of this than I am. But for sure, good for me to have that in my back pocket as well. I mean, as I say, I've only really gone with in my head the Wolves options with Johnny and Ep30. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it only becomes an issue if you want to go freemium. I'm probably not going to do that, just because putting Son in, I didn't just break something else, or putting Kane. I did have a drafted Kane in as well, but so Kane, Haaland, and Jesus. But I think it's going to be a 4-4-2, and it's going to be 2 premiums plus Jesus. So yeah, I think they're better. Ait-Nouri, Johnny, one of them would make it. Tommy Asu, if he was fit, but doesn't look like he's that fit. And then everyone else is a bit of a punt, isn't it? So, like I said, you look at people like Mings or whatever. I don't think he's going to start. Leicester's assets. Yeah, maybe you could go for someone like Botman or something if you really need a 4.5, but I'll probably stay away.
Not that inspiring. You just think for 0.5 more, there's so much there with Trippier and.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a massive compromise just to get Son in, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then Darwin option we've kind of talked about. I think that's too much to go at the beginning, but it's another one I can see at some point in our teams. So one to watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. But yeah, the only thing you were talking about, which is a good one to bring up, was resolutions, which I'll let you go a bit wax lyrical on, because I sort of talked about mine a little bit before. But yeah, what are your, before we end things, ways you're going to do things this season differently? You talked about chips a little bit, right?
Yeah, so I think the chips is what I've struggled with the last few seasons. I haven't really got the chips right. I think last season, the triple caps, I was not playing. I played it on Salah in a double, but not the first double when he went on a rampage. So that was pretty painful to watch. And then my bench boost, I bench boosted that week, and I got a bench boost of 4, which was I think it was like my lowest bench of the entire season, and that's when I have a bench boost. So
that was a double as well. That's so unlucky.
Yeah, not everyone doubled on the bench, but it was like they had good fixtures, and there was something, I think 1 or 2 doubled anyway. It was basically an absolute shocker. I think I had a couple of injuries and people coming up 1 point or whatever. So
I do remember being a little bit pleased about that. I'm sorry to say, but I can't remember any of the details. Like, who was on the bench with 4 points?
Yeah, WhatsApp chat was probably pretty painful. Well, not painful for me if I went back and revisited it. But yeah, so I think saving things, getting the bench boost in the double properly, getting the triple captain. We'll see what happens. I guess we'll see how it pans out with fixtures and things like that, and what doubles we've got. But I've got to try and get more points off my chips, because I reckon conservative estimates I probably lost 50 points on other people last season, and that would have easily put me to the top 100k. So and it's not the first season.
You think this is you being trying to be too clever with chips, maybe?
Yeah, I think some of it is that. Some of it's like, oh well, I'll go a bit more, differential or something, or just maybe not planning far enough ahead. Because, like I said, I look a couple of weeks ahead, and I think about my transfers, and I do spend a little bit of time on it, but maybe I don't, plan, 5-6 game weeks ahead, which maybe I need to. So I think that maybe this season that's chip strategy is going to be a big one that I need to just put more time into. I think normally I start out saying I'm going to take less hits, but actually I think like last season showed, obviously it's about taking hits at the right time, but maybe I need to take more hits. I think Nick took loads of hits, didn't he? And obviously a lot of them paid off for him last season. Could have been a different story, but I didn't get. I think a lot of them would maybe a bit rash, and maybe that if I'm going to take a hit, I need to really have a plan for 5 game weeks where it's going to pay off. You know what I mean? So I think maybe just a bit more time, maybe more planning. I'm sure my wife won't be happy to hear that, but I'll maybe spend a bit more time. Maybe I need to make a spreadsheet.
No, it doesn't sound like a good slippery slope, but yeah, maybe don't tell her. Yeah, okay. Any others, like style of play going to change? Do you think you're kind of in the middle? I think it sounds like you're not mega hit crazy, but also you're not always rolling transfers and really, trying to be quite long game.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm probably pretty average to the hits and stuff, but I don't know. I'm gonna try. I need to try and make sure I watch lots of teams and do a bit of get to watch a few games, which is tricky when you're busy, isn't it? But
yeah, absolutely. So useful if you're going to do that though at any stage of the season to do it at the beginning, isn't it? Because you
yeah,
catch so much that the stats aren't going to show. Yeah, I need to try and do that as well.
Yeah, and I'm not a great big digester of the stats, but a lot of it is what I see on the highlights, or try and watch as many live games as possible. So I think that's obviously that's a big part of football I enjoy is watching it. So that's a good thing to aim for, is just try and watch as many, particularly the promoted teams. Try and watch their first games of the season or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just going back to the chips, one of the definite parallels with what you were saying then was I need to my bench boost has never been that great. I think I got 15 last year, which is okay. But just playing it close to the wild card, I think I tried to be too clever and did wild card quite early, and about 10 weeks later did the bench boost, which is not a great way of doing it. So I need to try and align those a bit better, which should be easier this season, obviously, if we've got 3 of them, wild cards that is. But yeah, that'd be my only one. And yes, I don't know, bit of hindsight. I don't know. Yeah, with the kind of Salah banging in the first one, and what did he get? 10 in the second double in 35-ish. So it wasn't unsuccessful, but it was just that first one was so ridiculous. With what was it, 28?
Yeah, exactly. Didn't he get a niggle at the end of the first game, and then he didn't play the second game or something? I think it's a bit of a classic. Like every time I triple catch someone, he gets injured in one of the games or something. So, and of course, I just given what had happened the first time around, just completely missed that. And I think I can't remember what my rank was, but that week was absolutely shocking. It was like 6 mil or something. I think I got in the end. It was a shocking week altogether, I think. But that's the game, isn't it? Other weeks I had Son and got like much better ranks. So, I think what you said about I never really plan wild cards as well. I think normally it's like when my team's doing bad, I throw the wild card in, which obviously is not saying it's the wrong thing to do, but do I ever look and say, oh right, fixtures turn at 8, I'm going to wild card at 8? Probably not. So that's something I'm going to need to look at, I think, and decide when am I going to wild card, between 5 and 8 or whatever it is. So
yeah, I think I definitely need to try and calm down a little bit, and when it's bad, really try and take a step back, especially with something like chips. I mean, hopefully I'm not the sort of person to just bang it when I'm annoyed, but I probably would have been 5 years ago, and just activate it, but just take a breath and do it maybe a day after you think this is a good idea. But I don't know. I think sometimes when it does go badly, I go sometimes into a bit of a dark place and then convince myself, yeah, it's fine. But then any other normal week, you think you're completely crazy to do that. So I need to kind of try and keep a bit of a clear head when it is going badly, and just think it's one of those things. Of course, if it happens 2-3 game weeks in a row, fine, you've got to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other thing maybe is that trying to get the team value up a bit. It's not something I massively pay attention to, but trying to keep a good value. So then when you hit those wild cards, you can really maybe get up to 3 premiums a bit quicker or whatever. But obviously, it's just about getting on people when they're hot and not, and that's the game in it. So it's easy to say and hard to do. But I think that's something that I might need to be a bit more on top of, because I think I had a pretty good team value last year actually at the end, but that's probably more by accident.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all makes sense. Any other resolutions you got in your head?
No, I think that's it. Just do better, innit?
Just do better.
Finish inside top 100k this year.
Nice. Okay, should we leave it there?
Yeah, exactly. What did I say on the timer? I'm pretty much bang on.
Not too bad.
I keep talking a bit longer.
Yeah, try and drag it out. Any more resolutions? Oh, I've got 5.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's all good. No, thanks for having me on. Been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Tom. And the plan is for you to come back next week. You can tell me off air if you want to do that, but Nick's away for another week, so hopefully get you on next week.
That'd be great. Well, that's the Gameweek 1 review. That'll be
it's going to be a lot to talk about. Yeah, it'll be quite mad to go from quite a few of these pre-season chat to suddenly thinking, right, we've kind of in it. It's quite surreal.
Yeah,
I guess
definitely.
actually one thing for people listening to it for the first time, lock your teams in early. One thing that springs to mind: classic FPL side going down. I think there's going to be more people than ever. So you've probably got your draft team on the left or whatever. Do that the day before, which I'm sure you and I would do, but maybe some people new to the game need to do that because it has crashed before, isn't it?
That's really good. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess hopefully because they're doing the deadline now. It was still an hour and a half before the team sheets
true.
come out.
It's not
So,
that rush.
but it's happened a few times, hasn't it, where people have been locked out and it's been a disaster. So
yeah, they gave us a wild card, didn't they? Like, maybe. Do you remember that? I think it was maybe more than 4 seasons ago. So maybe that wasn't your first season, but yeah, it went badly wrong one season. They gave us a wild card for game week 2 because they basically said, "Oh, so many people got locked out. Here's a reset for everybody."
Wow, no, I don't think I was on that one.
Yeah,
Here's a
okay.
reset, but you're 100 points behind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nasty. Yeah, no, that's a good shout. The team on the left is what is locked in at the moment anyway, but I will go and have a tinker after this.
Yeah,
So
I suppose the
might
other
be a
one
late night.
is not to do too many last minute ones. I think that was a good one that I heard on Black Box this week. With it's fine to make a last minute change, but don't do one that kind of dominoes into sort of 3 or 4 changes. And you're like, oh, I've got a mil to spend or something, and try and spend that mil and move loads of stuff around. I think that's quite good advice. Your team, unless there's something massive that comes out of the press conferences, is kind of that for a reason. Don't have to panic and do multiple stuff at the last minute.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's that is good. That is good advice. I think problem is by now you've probably had most of the big hitters in there, so you'll ultimately always be like, oh, I had that guy in draft number 47, and you beat yourself about it. But I think, I think you said at the start, or maybe it was in the last week episode, you just go into a team with the team that you are like, 95% happy with. That's probably as good as you're going to do, really. So
yeah, good stuff. All right, thanks again, Tom.
No worries. Thanks very much. See you on the other side.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. If you enjoyed the content, please give it a like, share, comment and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. Night everyone.
Good luck everyone. Cheers.
Bye.